Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Around South Jersey. My special guest is no stranger to any of you, I'm sure, but I got to turn down my
Got to live that 5-second delay,
yes,
right?
We do. That's right. And it is none other than Fred Melendez, who's the sound doctor, who is a very talented man and actually went to the University of Alabama.
Yeah, that was a decision.
Great decision. Wow.
It was at the time for sure. It was like when I graduated Hamilton High School in 1976. It was a bicentennial class. That was our theme that year.
Uh-huh.
And for some reason, I had one of those moments where I just figured I didn't want to stay local for college. I really, to this day, don't know why that decision came to my mind. But for some reason, I aimed south.
That's super.
Alabama wasn't my first choice. I chose some other Alabama schools that weren't as big, but for some reason, when the University of Alabama, when I applied there and got accepted, took all the PSATs, SATs, and all that, I decided that's where I want to go.
Wow.
Yeah.
That had to be expensive, didn't it?
Not at that time.
Okay.
We're talking the mid 70s, so. Whatever that is, almost 50 years ago now. No, colleges, obviously, they're much more expensive now. But what happened was my first year I paid the out-of-state tuition.
Right.
But then
became a resident.
I was told I should get residency for the next 3 years in Alabama and pay the state going rate, which was very reasonable back. I don't remember what it was, but I didn't wind up with many student loans or anything like that.
Good.
College was different. It was financed differently, and luckily for me, I had scholarships for my academic stuff. So it wasn't that expensive at that time. It probably is a little different now.
Yeah, but I've heard a lot of people say the same thing. They've gone for 1 year and then become a resident.
Yeah.
So that it's like in New Jersey. As a New Jersey resident, Rowan University is very reasonable. But if you're not a New Jersey resident, you're paying out of state, which is probably double.
That's about
what
double,
in-state is paying, as well.
Yeah.
So when you went off to college, what did you think you were going to do in your life?
Well, I've talked to you several times about my passions when I was a child and all that. 6th grade, I found a hockey book about Mr. Hockey, Gordie Howe. Read that through, and for some reason, I just got hooked on the sport. It wasn't a big sport at that time.
Yeah.
In fact, if I remember correctly, until 1967, there were only 6 teams playing in the NHL.
Wow. When did the Flyers go
The
on?
Flyers came in the, I should know this, 67 season.
Okay.
They had joined what it was that the league doubled its team, 6 to 12.
Wow.
And they picked 6 expansion cities. Uh-huh. Philadelphia was one of them. And, of course, Ed Snyder, he was well ahead of his time in terms of thinking about marketing, the hockey thing, and he really made it work. The Flyers, first year, they won their division. They put all 6 of the expansion teams by themselves instead of with the other 6 that had already been established. So as it turned out, the Flyers did win their conference that first year.
Oh, wow.
They didn't really succeed in the playoffs because they were pretty new, but I got hooked on the Flyers, not right at that point, but I'd say the early 70s, 71, 72 especially. And then I think it was WIP, or I forget what radio station carried the Flyers, but then into my life came Gene Hart.
Yep.
And anybody who's old enough to remember Gene Hart, he was the heart and soul of that team from the get-go. He was the original announcer of the team, and he brought a verve to the game that I had never heard before. Now, I was born in 58, so I was 12 years old or so. But when I heard Gene Hart, and they were on TV a little bit, but not like they are now, every game. Listening to Gene Hart do a game on radio, that's where I kind of fell in love with it.
That's great.
And I said, that's what I want to do. I want to do sports announcing.
That's something.
Gene Hart was the man.
And Fred and I were just talking the other day that we'll have to check into it with St. Augustine Prep. They do have a high school hockey team.
They have a hockey team, yeah.
Wanted to see if they were doing any games so Fred and Ariel could do the
games.
games.
The one sport that I haven't done yet is the one that I love the most. So before, God calls, I would love to call some hockey games. Absolutely.
Now, okay, so when you finished up at the University of Alabama, what did you do?
I came home, and like most college graduates, they didn't have anything lined up yet. I was still young. I was 22.
Sure. Yeah.
And it took a while to get some kind of work in the field. And a man named Jim Rodeo, who owned the Hamilton stations, you might remember that name.
I do.
Back when it was WNJH and it became WRDR. He had an AM/FM combination. Yeah. I knocked on his door, and it took a while because I did the overnight shift like every other newbie.
Sure. Yeah.
You have to put in your time on the overnight stuff. But the AM was a daytime station, so I didn't really get involved in that too much. It was daytime, but the FM was, all night. And so I did some nighttime shifts, and this was 1980. In 82, Mr. Rodeo decided to sell the AM. And I had a choice to make, and I decided to stay with the AM. New ownership, new management, and all that. And so it became WTYO Radio, 1580 still, but they changed call letters and whatnot. And the manager, or the owner, became Norm Sanders, and he basically bought it because his daughter wanted to be involved in radio. So, but I hooked up with that. The original GM didn't really pan out. Somebody else came along from Philly. I don't know if you know a name, John DeMasi. That goes back a while as well. But he came from Philly, and he started selling. And you know how important selling is for the broadcast industry. If you don't have advertisers, you don't got much.
Exactly.
But he came along and did a tremendous job in promoting it and selling advertising. And he was creative, too, in the fact that he had ideas about doing an 11 o'clock in the morning talk show. Monday and Wednesday were the best because he developed this show called The Psychic Connection.
Oh, God, they're popular. Yes.
Back then, it was just kicking,
Wow.
And it was Kathleen Bramante who was the psychic, and she, it is a gift. I don't know if you believe in psychics and whatnot, but every time she talked about anything with me, it usually came true. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't generic. I mean, I can't be specific on what she told me, but she was excellent, and it was a call-in show, and the phones were just off the hook for that show. That was like, again, 1983, 84. Mm-hmm. So Psychic Connection took off. We did the usual, morning show music and stuff like that, but 11 o'clock we dedicated to an hour of talk. The other 3 days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, just like you do your shows with different people, we had different guests come on the radio and talk about their specialties and, whether it was a politician or businessman, somebody in the community that would come on and talk about whatever it is that they did or how they want to get their businesses cranking. So that was something that took place at the 11 o'clock hour. But back then, as we all know, wages were not much of anything. I remember that well now. And I've then trying to think.
I hope you were still living at home.
Oh, yeah. No, I was still living at home. My parents probably would have let me stay there forever if I wanted to.
That's not a bad thing nowadays.
Not a bad thing. Not at all. And then in 1983, as you know, I met the woman that would become my wife. She came from Philadelphia as well. She was involved with some radio things in Philadelphia. But she, I don't know, she got word that they were looking for a news anchor. And she applied and got the job. And we met and we hit it off. And we did get married in 1986 eventually. And through my wife, I met a man you know well, Jim Cheeseman.
Yes, I did.
Jim, at that time in 1984, he was running what was the sports department then of the Millville Daily. And I'm sure you remember the Millville Daily.
Yes, I do.
And he asked me if I would be interested in doing stringer work for the Millville sports. That's when I got involved in field hockey. Claudia McCarthy, a legendary coach, a tremendous woman and coach, well beloved by her athletes. She was just a great coach. So I did that for the fall season in 1984, wrote the stories about the teams, and then Jim offered me the same type of deal with the girls basketball team. So that's when I met Alan Shaw, famous coach, famous player, I should say. Yeah. He coached the girls for a little bit. And then I was going to do baseball. I was doing baseball announcing for WTYO.
Oh, that's great.
So I couldn't do the spring season.
Right.
But after that, think there came some kind of full-time position came up at what was Vineland Times Journal at the time.
Oh, okay.
They were
Right,
co-owned
yeah.
at that time, and I decided, well, it was a little more money,
Yeah.
and so I made the move to get into sports writing. I never considered sports writing,
Yeah.
believe it or not. It was all about the microphone and the announcing for me.
Yeah.
And John DeMasi allowed me to do that. Great. We did football, and we also did baseball. We couldn't do basketball because it was nighttime. So being a daytime
That's right.
station,
Yeah, you're off the
you
air
couldn't
at
do the
sunset,
basketball.
yeah.
But and I've talked about this many times. There was a game in 1983. It was a state tournament football game, Delsey versus Hamilton, and of course John Oberg back then.
Yeah.
Delsey was
Delsey.
a powerhouse program back in that time.
They did
And
quite a bit of years.
I think Hamilton had the higher seed that year, and they played the home game against the Crusaders.
Right.
And they busted out to a 29-8 lead. Hamilton did.
Wow.
But I'll tell you what, Delsey's good.
Yeah.
They made it a 29-24 final, and it took a couple of defensive stands by Hamilton to save that game.
Wow.
So that was
exciting
probably
game.
my highlight of that tenure. That game was just awesome, and it really the crowd, the public, after the game during that week afterwards, they really said, "Boy, that was a whale of a game."
Yeah.
And I certainly remember the way that went down. So, but then again, I came to the Vineland Times Journal, and that was through Jim Cheeseman. I almost say Jim Quinn, but and of course through that, the newspaper became full time.
Right.
And I'm not sure exactly when I met you about the sports announcing, because that was still my first love. It was probably after I left the Vineland paper, though. I think
you were the Bridgeton
I was
paper
over there
then.
at the
Yeah,
Bridgeton Evening
'cause
News.
I did,
1987, I went there.
Yeah.
And I've been very fortunate. I've had a few mentors. Jack Hummel certainly was one of those mentors. I'll never forget what he told me about sports writing. He just said 4 words: write what you see.
Mm-hmm.
And I took that to heart. And when I got the full-time position to cover all the Millville teams, that's how I approached it. I wrote what I saw. And I think taking that approach, a lot of people would tell me that, you know what, the way you write these stories, it's like I don't really have to be at the game to feel like I was at the game.
You were,
And that was a byproduct
Yeah,
of it. But yeah, that was an experience that I really enjoyed for the 9 years that I was there.
Is that really?
It was 9 years. And but like everything else, things happened to end.
Yeah.
And long story short, that ended. It took a little while to get the next writing job in Manasquan. That lasted a year and a half. Part-time at the Courier-Post as well. And then it was your mentoring as well that told me, Fred, I know you're having a tough time, because I was working part-time at the Courier, nothing full-time. And he said, why don't you consider applying for a civil service job?
Right.
And you can do the broadcasting for me.
Yeah.
And 25 years later, we're still doing it. And but yeah, it's been a great run for me. That's just on that side of it.
Yeah. Yeah. That's super.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking with a sound doctor, Fred Melendez. This guy can do anything. I'm telling you, folks. You name it. Writes, does play-by-play, and all the things that he can do. And we'll be back to talk more with Fred about his great career right after these messages.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great health care for everyone.
C&H Disposal Service has provided customers with the best customer service possible since 1981. C&H Disposal Service provides trash removal, dumpster rentals, septic cleaning, repair and installation, septic system certifications, portable restroom rentals, and demolition. With great customer service and competitive pricing, C&H Disposal Service has you covered at the home and on the job. C&H Disposal Service. Stick with the best.
More than a century ago, General Tire was born, right here in America. Since then, we've made a name for ourselves by making tires you can depend on. Tires built to handle any road this country can throw at them. and relied on by every kind of driver. So you know that no matter where life takes you, with General Tire, anywhere is possible.
How'd it happen?
She showed up dead on arrival.
This never gets easier.
It does when you call CarShield before your car breaks down. Look at these prices. The camshaft, transmission, engine.
Don't people know? A plan through CarShield could protect up to 5,000 parts and systems.
You hate to see it.
An out-of-warranty car is going to break down eventually.
Right, which is why they need a plan through CarShield. Those expensive repair bills get paid and at the mechanic of their choice. They're notifying the family.
Poor guy. He doesn't even know what's coming.
Another victim of senselessly expensive repair bills. Can't save them all.
But we can keep trying. Didn't have to end this way. If he'd have just called CarShield before his car broke down.
Exactly.
Protect yourself from the unprecedented rise in cost for parts and repairs. Call now to save money with your price lock guarantee. Call CarShield now.
Call 1-800-890-2387.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest this evening is the sound doctor, Fred Melendez, who also does play-by-play sports. He does writing, and he does all kinds of wonderful things. Talented man. And, you know, Fred, it's funny. Some of our paths didn't cross, but we ended up in a couple of the same places.
Right.
When I broke into radio at WWBZ in 1968, and I just graduated college. And the minimum wage was what I made. It was $1.65. And my show, I was at a show called Dinner Review from 6 to 8. And then on Saturday mornings, I got to do DJ show. It was a lot of fun. The Beatles were popular. It was a great time. So anyway, I decided I needed to make some money because I'd gotten married. So I went and took a job with Sal Extension University selling their classes and stuff. So I got out of radio, but I missed it. So I went to WRDI, and I saw Jim Rodeo, and he offered me a job. And he said, I said, how much? He said, $1.50. I said, I thought minimum wage was $1.65. This is radio. And I remember having Diane Allen on with me.
Okay.
And she was the TV celebrity who started in radio. She was saying the same thing, like the station she went to in Mount Holly. They paid less than minimum wage, although I don't know how you get away with it, but they did. But the thing that you've got to deal with, and you know it and I know it, is it's a popular field that people want to get into. You know, being a radio announcer for many, including Fred and I, was something we looked forward to. That's what, when I went to high school and college, I just wanted to. Now, I went to Glassboro. They didn't have communications then. So I knew I was going to get certified as a teacher, which was a good thing because it gave me income.
Yeah.
So I taught during the day, did the radio from 7 to 11 on WMVB each evening, Monday through Thursday. And then Saturday I did a DJ show as well. So but you know, I loved every minute of what I do, and you do too.
Yeah.
And you know, when I taught school, and I tell you this, folks, tell your children, do what you love. Then you'll be good at it, and eventually the money will come. For me, I had to get into my own business and go out and sell the advertising in order to make any kind of money. But it was something that I enjoy and have enjoyed for many, many years, since 1968. So it's been a long time. And the other thing I did that I envy Fred, John Ewing had offered me a job with the Millville. What was the Millville edition?
It was the Millville News.
Millville News,
Yeah.
thank you. He offered me a job with the Millville News doing stories about past athletes. So I'm not a daytime person, so I was teaching during the day, but at nighttime from like 11 to 1 is when I could get my head straight, and I would do stories on different athletes, former athletes. And I remember doing one on a young man who was on my Little League team named John Spaeth. He's my third baseman. And we had a great Little League team back in 80 and 81. We made it to the city championship and won it both years.
Okay.
So in Millville then, if you win the city championship, you get to go up to that stadium with all the kids. You get to get down on the field. So it was wonderful. I got to get down on the field, hit ground balls. And don't forget 1980s, Pete Rose, Mike Schmidt, Larry Boa, all those guys. So the kids were there. Now, he was 12 then, and I was probably interviewing. He was like 32 then, 20 years later.
Right.
And he said, Mr. Quinn, the highlight of my whole career, no matter how I look at it, is being able to get out at that stadium and meet Tug McGraw and all the Phillies players. And that says something. That really does. And I was happy that he had that opportunity to do that. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, part of the experience that I had at what was then the Millville News was that I did take it upon myself.
Well, you were the sports director.
I was the sports editor for the paper. But in the I think it was 95, I'm sorry. I took it upon myself to cover the Flyers in their playoffs, and got press credentials and everything, and it was just an experience. That was as close as I'm going to come, I think, to professional hockey because you're there in the press box watching the game, taking notes and everything. You get to interview the coaches and players afterwards. And even though I think maybe one or two of the stories got in, I kept the stories that I wrote anyway. They didn't all get in the paper, but it's an experience to, like you say, a young man going to Vet Stadium at that time, to be in what was then, what was it? I don't think it was the whatever the center is now. Can't remember the name of the stadium. It was the Spectrum, maybe still.
No, it was that stadium.
No, I'm talking about the Flyers.
I'm sorry, Flyers.
Yeah, but anyway,
I'm sorry.
I'm just glad that I took it upon myself. And you say do what you want to do. A lot of kids don't know what they want to do, but I hope that you take the time as young people to start thinking about what you are interested in, because that's what you should pursue. I was fortunate. I knew I wanted to be in sports announcing right from the get-go, and I pursued the avenues. And, I didn't get to the pro level like I was aspiring to, but you know what? High school and college sports are just as good. They're still the same games. So I'm very proud of the fact that I did what I wanted to do. The games and the athletes and coaches make it what it is, especially at the scholastic level.
Yeah. They
play it because they love the game. They just love playing it. And, things like the Battle at the Beach that starts this week. And Millville, Holy Spirit, good luck, Millville. Coach Ayala, hopefully you start the season right.
Yeah.
But it's just every game takes on its nuances. You don't know what to expect. And that's what I love about it as well. The excitement that the athletes put into just about all the plays during the course of a game, that's what makes it special. And that's what and Gene Hart instilled that in me, to capture that excitement, especially in broadcasting, because there's just nothing like it. There's no exhilaration for athletes when they succeed to be announced the way that I try to announce them. That picture right there is my profile picture on Facebook. It captures who I am, and that's why I use it. You can see I'm very elated to be wherever it is I'm at right there with the headset, watching the game, and just the way the sun caught my face there. But there is such a great thing about high school sports in particular. It doesn't matter what the sport is. The athletes are there to participate. They enjoy the games, and they strive for success. And that's what life's about, striving for success.
Yeah, that's for sure. I do want to mention that this year, that was 2023 for the Battle of the Beach, they've increased the number of teams to 26 teams. There's 13 games, and they're Fridays and Saturdays. But because Ocean City has some event going on, there's only going to be 3 games in Ocean City. And the other 13 games, it's 26 teams playing,
Yeah, 13
so it's
games,
10. The other 10 games are going to be played at Egg Harbor Township. Millville will be playing Holy Spirit at 7:30 Friday night at Egg Harbor Township. So be sure to tune in to Channel 22, or you can watch it on Quinn Broadcasting Facebook page or the Quinn Broadcasting YouTube channel. So they're the places that you can find it. And, Fred, it was interesting. I guess, what's it been, 10 years now that YouTube and Facebook have come in?
About that. I mean, I don't know when it started, but relatively new,
Yeah. It's interesting. Like I've often said, when I did the Auction Time show, which was way back in the late 70s, I guess. Yeah, late 70s, early 80s. We actually sold in one year. It was 1980. I think we sold $500,000 worth of merchandise
Oh, my
on
goodness.
TV. So then, of course, you got to look at that time. There were only 12 channels. We were one of 12 channels, and I was on before Home Shopping Network and
Yeah.
QVC, so people got hooked on it. They were really loving it and watching it. So that was, but again, my point is we don't have the Nielsen ratings, so I can't tell you X amount of thousands of people watched during this period of time. Now, what happens with YouTube and Facebook, at the end of the games or season or whatever, you can get a click, how many people had clicked on and watched. And last year, Millville football, we had 250,000 people over those 10, 12 games that watched them. And, that we know. Now, we don't have any watched on Channel 22 because we don't have a counter to go with that. But it shows how people love, especially this area, they love their local high school sports teams. I wish I could do more. I would have loved to have done Delsey this year. Fred was all ready to do it.
I was ready to go.
But I can't find anybody to sell. If you want to sell, you can make some good money because, Delsey's a super team and they're close by. Because Vinland's covered by the Vineland Public School System. They do a good job. Bridgeton's got their own public school system. And Cumberland, I don't know what they do, but it's a tough market. There's not a lot of businesses in the Cumberland Regional District to try to get to advertise. So let me tell you, while we're talking about that, I want to thank the businesses that are sponsoring this year's games. Mintz Insurance, they are a godsend to everything in Millville. Whatever I ask Mike and Bob about to do for Millville, they're there. They do it all the time. Complete Care, Curtis Edwards and the staff, fabulous people. They're all over Cumberland County. In fact, I have Curtis on soon. We have a booklet that came out. I'm on their board of directors. It's amazing the facilities they have and the services they provide for adults and kids. And they're one of our major sponsors as well. TD Bank, America's most convenient bank, is also a sponsor. Speaking of banking, Bob Millard, thank you so much, as Thunderbolt Federal Credit Union is always there to help as well. I know this year we have a person running for Congress, Joe Salerno, who's bought time to be on the football game. It's the first time we've had a political person in a long time. But I really want to thank the Thunderbolt Club. They have come on board and are helped support the live coverage of Millville High School football. Jim Beebe is another one, and I may be forgetting somebody. Christie Funeral Home. That's right. They're a new sponsor, and boy, what great people they are.
Yeah.
Christie Funeral Home. Patrick Reynolds is a wonderful man. 125 years they've been serving Millville. Quite a long tradition. Of course, I knew Paul and Matt and Becky and the family and good people, but so is Patrick and his gang that's there now. So I thank them for their sponsorship. And if we had more sponsors, we'd do more games. But unfortunately, we got to make some kind of money and have some money coming in to do that. But, Fred, getting back to you with the Bridgeton Evening News, then the Millville News, how many years were you there?
Full-time, like I said, 1985, I became full-time at the Vineland paper.
Okay.
And in 87, position came up. The Millville News was not there yet when I went there.
Yeah.
They had a Millville edition, the Bridgeton Evening News. And their sports director came to work at Vineland, and I decided jump on the opportunity to go to Bridgeton.
Okay.
And obviously, it was another one of those great decisions on my part. Jack Hummel told me about writing what you see, and he turned me loose.
Yeah.
And, back in the day, I could write those kind of articles.
Yeah.
Now it's, paper cutter things.
Right. And,
but I was fortunate that the timing was such that Jack Hummel just let me run with what I was doing. I set up my own schedule, tried to cover all the teams as fairly in terms of actual going to their games and doing it. And would spend the rest of the night on the phone getting other results and doing the best I could to make those games sound interesting also. But I can't. There's so many people that I could thank, and I don't want to miss anybody, so I won't. But the coaches, the players, the athletic directors, of course, Dave Lagamba and Dan
Santagata.
He was a big help to me back in the day. I mean, it was just a tight knit community that the coaches wanted to see the kids succeed. Not so much that they win every game,
Right.
but that they played their best, and the results usually, for the most part, were pretty positive.
Yeah.
There was a lot of winning going on in Millville. Mark Saul's an athlete that we all certainly remember, football and championship wrestler, a state championship wrestler. People like Jennifer Denby and Melissa Corsi. These are the top notch I'm talking about. I hate to single them out, but there were just plenty of athletes like that. Joe Felice was a great quarterback in Millville, went to Rutgers, of course. So many great athletes. Chip McNair, Mike Green, a small running back, but powerful. I know many people might remember Mike Green. This area has been blessed with athletes, the Gene DeMorats and all them, Noel DeMorat. I was blessed. I was blessed to cover them for 9 years, and memories are just, they're there. I have just about every article I ever wrote, so if I ever want to look back in my retirement, I'll have something to read. But let me thank everybody who participated in that. I don't know that I've ever thanked the athletes and the coaches from every sport. You guys were tremendous. And I can see the personality. For some reason, Rusty Corson just came to mind as a coach and all that. But I hate to name people, but sometimes they just come to your mind. Ron Vinnick, of course, Tony Serace. These are great people, and they did a great job while they were here, and they've let the mantle to others. But it's a tradition that just keeps going, and the Thunderbolt Club deserves a lot of credit for also.
Sure
they were a big part of things back then with the Thunderbolt Awards for every team, but now that they have the building, they're doing even bigger and better things over there for the sports athletes, and it's been tremendous.
We're talking with Fred Melendez, who has been a newspaper reporter, a radio and TV announcer, and of course the sound doctor.
Yeah.
So we come back, we'll talk a little bit about Fred's own business, the sound doctor, right after these messages.
How'd it happen?
She showed up dead on arrival.
This never gets easier.
It does when you call CarShield before your car breaks down. Look at these prices. The camshaft, transmission, engine.
Don't people know? A plan through CarShield could protect up to 5,000 parts and systems.
You hate to see it.
An out-of-warranty car is going to break down eventually.
Right, which is why they need a plan through CarShield. Those expensive repair bills get paid and at the mechanic of their choice. They're notifying the family.
Poor guy. He doesn't even know what's coming.
Another victim of senselessly expensive repair bills. Can't save them all.
But we can keep trying. Didn't have to end this way. If he'd have just called CarShield before his car broke down.
Exactly.
Protect yourself from the unprecedented rise in cost for parts and repairs. Call now to save money with your price lock guarantee. Call CarShield now.
Call 1-800-890-2387.
Hey, check this out. Hernia repair. Ain't nothing, man. Kidney surgery. That's nothing. Gallbladder removal.
That's nothing. Spinal repair. I don't see nothing.
Exactly.
Minimally invasive robotic surgery at Inspira Health. Scar so small, it's almost like nothing ever happened.
At Mintz Insurance, we're proud to have been serving our customers for nearly 80 years, offering 30 different insurance products for your auto, home, and business. And to help ensure that you're getting the best rates possible, we give you up to 3 quotes for every policy, so you can choose what's right for you. At Mintz, we're part of the community, local representatives, supporting events, and proud of it. It's part of who we are. Mintz Insurance. Call today and find out how we can help you save on insurance, or visit us at mintzinsurance.com.
In Cumberland County, let's recycle right. We recycle cardboard, paper, aluminum, tin, and plastics number 1 and 2. Look for the 3-arrow triangle usually on the bottom of the plastic container. The number in the center determines the plastic number. Remember to recycle only number 1 and 2 plastics. Plastic bags, plastic film, hoses, and wires are not recyclable. They can damage sorting equipment and create hazardous working conditions. Don't trash our future. Do the right thing. Remember, reduce, reuse, and recycle.
Many
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest this evening is my good friend Fred Melendez, who is the sound doctor. So when did you start getting into doing DJing?
I remember it vividly. It was 1982. I was working at the radio station there, WTYO, with a high school classmate of mine. His name was Mike DeLuca. And he was really into music more than I was. And he was the news director for a little while I was the morning announcer, DJ. And he came up with the idea, actually. Oh. He said, why don't we take this on the road? I had never thought about doing mobile DJ thing. Right. But he had the idea. He had the records, and he had the gung-ho. He loved to dance, so he was a partier. Good dancer, too, back in the day. I don't know if he still could dance the way he did back then. But he said, why don't we start doing this away from the radio station? And we had plans. We were young, so you know how young people think big. We had plans of developing it so that we would have 2 sets of equipment. Yeah. We started out doing everything together. Right. But then we got enough parties to where we put money away to buy a second set of equipment. And we had the grandiose ideas of doing 2 different things on the same weekend. Like Mike would do a wedding, I would do a wedding. Right. And for a while, that's the way it worked. And we got established pretty nicely with that. But like everything else, things happen in life. Once I got the sports writing positions and certain things that happened that I couldn't, be with him. Yeah, right. Like I said, we had built up everything to 2 different equipment sets. So we amicably,
yes,
that's the word. Yes, see, it's not always easy, folks. But we both agreed that it was time to just split everything evenly and, go our separate ways with the DJing. Right. He was, I don't know how much longer he lasted with it, but I don't think it was much longer than after we split up. I see. He was always interested in a lot of things, so he had a lot of things going for him besides the DJing. But I just, I kept going at it as a side job with all the full-time work that I had, and I'm now cranking it up at 42 years worth of DJing.
Wow.
And I've been places all over South Jersey. It's been a blessing. Rumors, Rib Room, Melendez. I'm going to throw out a few different names here. Jenny's place, I was there for a very long time, and I've been fortunate, Jim. I told you yesterday I was blessed. I've been blessed to be able to do that right there, have the microphones handing out. Seeing people have a good time in life, we all work so hard. So when we're able to let loose and have a party or whatever, it's great to see people just enjoying themselves, whether they dance or not. Too many people worry about, whether the crowd's dancing. If I see people moving around in the audience to the music, I'm happy. Those are some of my karaoke singers. I've really gotten into karaoke lately. Every Wednesday night now, I am doing shows at the Stakeouts in Buna. Right. So Wednesday nights, if you're free, join me. It's right there on Route 54. That's Roger. See, I know these people intimately. His name escapes me at the moment, but he suffered a stroke and he still sings.
Wow.
That's an amazing thing. That's right
fantastic.
There. But these are the people that come out, and you know what? I would say 90 to 95% of them can sing.
Wow.
It's amazing. TT and the Blondie there, I know these people by heart now because they do come to the shows. We had a couple of times when the kids sang. That's always a fun time. But it's a great, great thing. Karaoke is really popular, always has been.
Yeah.
But and I've been fortunate to carry it in different places. That right there is a party that Paul Benson and I hosted, DJ'd at the 5 Points Inn. A great time there.
When I've done weddings, Paul's set it up for me.
Yeah. So, and I thank Paul Bench for the opportunities he gives me to DJ with him. It's a great community. A lot of DJs help each other, and that's what makes it nice too. If one guy can't do a job, he'll call you and say, "Are you free this day?" And yeah, I would love to do it. So that part of it's also very good. But the Sound Doctor, the name came from our initials, and it's been a blessing. I never thought I'd be a mobile DJ, but it has worked out for 42 years, and hopefully, I don't know about another 42, but I'll take 2 or 3 at least. Yeah, and if you are planning a party, I'm going to go ahead and give out the number. If you have any DJ needs, whether they be for parties, weddings, backyards, or if you want to have a karaoke party at your location, wherever it is, that's the number to call right there, 856-777-3656. If I don't answer you directly, please leave a voicemail. I get back to people.
Yes, you do.
I don't. If it's something that I have a voicemail, I listen to it, and it regards something like the DJing, you will get a call back. I don't understand. A lot of companies today don't call you back.
Yes.
I'm frustrated. Whether it's a gutter repairman, I shouldn't get into that stuff, but return calls. You get voicemails for business. I'm going to return a call.
Yeah.
So if you have something coming up, that's the number right there, 777-3656. If you love karaoke, every Wednesday I'm at Stakeouts in Buna. I substitute here and there, but if you follow me on Facebook, you'll get all those details whenever they happen, because I post all my DJ events. Not so much the private parties, but the karaoke, because that is something that I think is going to last forever. Karaoke, people just love it. And again, I am amazed at the greatness of the singers. One point I will make about karaoke. If you're going to do karaoke, pick a song you know really well. That way, if your words blink out or something, you know the song.
Yeah.
Just a little tip of advice for karaoke
good
people.
Point. Yeah, no, it's great. It's wonderful that people enjoy it.
Yes, they do.
You're out there, and you've done basketball, football, baseball, right?
We've done some soccer games as well.
That's right. Yes,
we
you
did some soccer games, yeah.
See, I couldn't do soccer, so I don't know how to do it. I don't know the game that well. I mean,
The one thing I've learned is, again, I go back to my mentor, Jack Hummel, who said, write what you see, announce what you see.
Yeah.
It's not always going to be exciting in terms of little things, but you just, as an announcer, I like, and again, I invoke my inner Gene Hart when I announce. I want to make it exciting somehow. Ryan Narowski, I know you're listening. He loves the excitement that I throw in at times.
Yes, he does.
He sometimes is amazing. There's the staff that we have, all great people. Ryan's on the right there, and you can see he enjoys it. He loves the things he can do with the technical end of it.
Well, you know what? While we're talking about that, John Elms, I think the guy's name is, he's athletic director now at West Deptford, but he is the president of the West Jersey Association of all the teams are in West Jersey.
Oh, okay, the league.
The
yeah.
league,
Okay.
yeah. And I had to contact him about getting permission to do the game on Friday. And he was very complimentary of Ryan and the staff.
Right.
He just said, I love watching your games. They're so well done, which was nice to hear. Of course, Ryan puts a lot into it.
Well, that's what I was just going to say. He gets there early. He sets everything up. Everything's ready to go. I just put the headset on and roll with the game. And we all love what we do, and I think that's what makes a difference. Those guys help me out on occasion. It's just a lot of fun. And, again, I thank Gene Hart for introducing me to the world of sports announcing. It just became a passion. My daughter has joined me, and she went to school for the communications as well. A few people have said she's better than you, Fred, and that's fine. That's fine. We have a lot of fun doing the games, no matter what they are. Basketball and football is what we've done most of, but we play off each other. Baseball, that's true. We play off of each other very well. I do all the yelling and excitement stuff, and she fills in the more calm color announcing. Yeah. Although she'll get excited once in a while too, which is good to see.
But I think people enjoy that when you get excited. It gets them pumped up too.
Oh, I know Ryan loves it.
Yes. We're talking with Fred Melendez, the Sound Doctor. We'll be back to wrap up the program right after these messages.
Many people treat their health like a game. With the Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Our mental health services focus on the emotions and behaviors that affect your overall well-being and features psychiatric, counseling, and addiction services, including our exclusive Fresh Start program, designed to help combat the opioid epidemic in our communities, plus all the other specialties you expect from Complete Care. Level up your health with us. The Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
You learn pretty fast that there are no shortcuts in racing or in life. One of my first attempts to deal with my own hair loss was a literal shortcut. Thankfully, my wife found Hair Club. I was shocked the Hair Club had virtually every solution possible. If I had known about Hair Club sooner, I never would have tried any of those overhyped advertised solutions. You can get your own free personalized consultation with a hair loss expert and be on your way to the finish line in no time. Call now.
Save 20% on select solutions using promo code Frankie. Call 800-597-3910.
Hey, check this out. Hernia repair. Ain't nothing, man. Kidney surgery. That's nothing. Gallbladder removal.
That's nothing. Spinal repair. I don't see nothing.
Exactly.
Minimally invasive robotic surgery at Inspira Health. Scar so small, it's almost like nothing ever happened.
Many people treat their health like a game. With Complete Care Health Network, it's easy to start your healthcare journey. Just select from our specialties and schedule online, by phone, or on our app. Our entire team communicates with one another, so everyone works together on your total health. Plus, we make it even easier with all of these additional benefits. Level up your health with us. Complete Care Health Network. No games, just great healthcare for everyone.
Welcome back to Around South Jersey. My special guest is Fred Melendez, the sound doctor, the play-by-play guy, the newspaper reporter, you name it, DJ. He's done it all, radio announcer. And before I forget, too, I want to thank Carol and Joe Plowman. I had forgotten them when we were talking about Millville High School football. Boy, I tell you, great people, local people who do a fantastic job with your windows and doors. There's no question. Call Plowman's Windows and Doors if you need any windows or doors at your house. They will take good care of you, and they really care about the community too. And thank you, Carol and Joe, for your sponsorship as well. Without them, we wouldn't be able to have Millville football and all the other people that I mentioned previously. So thanks to all the businesses that are willing to help us keep those games on the air. And, Fred, I guess, do you do many weddings?
I used to do a lot more. Like I said, karaoke's become my number one go-to.
Right.
Private parties have kind of dried up, to be honest. That's why I mentioned if you have any kind of private party. And by the way, if you're doing a wedding thing, I would meet with the bride and groom anytime. Just call that number right there, 856-777-3656. If you're having a wedding reception or just a backyard barbecue. If you want to discuss the music that you want to hear at your event, I'm very willing to do that. That way we're on the same page. And I'm one of those DJs that takes requests as well. I don't know where this idea of not taking requests have come along, but I keep hearing DJs don't take requests. Just a little commentary on that. If you have me at a party and you ask for a song, it's going to be played. So fear not. I'm definitely big on request. That's how you get the crowd involved.
Sure.
Getting the crowd involved not only on the dance floor, but when they come up and ask for a song, usually they're great requests. They're all party songs that they ask for. So by all means, I'm ready to go. Like I said, the weddings and private parties, right? I guess I'm the old guy now, so all the young guys are getting all the parties, but that's okay. I'm going to keep going with it. It's been a blessing for me, and every time I do a party or karaoke, the feedback that I get is tremendous, and I thank everybody for the feedbacks that I get. They come to the party, have a good time, and then they say they have a good time, and they mean it. It's just not shop talk or whatever it is. They come up to you and say, thank you very much for supplying the music you provided. We'll definitely keep you in mind for next time. That's the kind of thing that you want to do. So it's been a blessing for me, and it's going to continue to be. I'm going to keep on going, keep on trucking,
That's
as
right.
Eddie Kendrick said.
Yep.
See, everything's a song, too, by the way. You can come up with a song for everything.
Yes, that's for sure. And you've got a brief period of time before you retire from the civil service job, right?
I'm looking at the end of this year. I have my 25 years in next month. So anything after that, I'll have my full-time 25 years. I have the age, unfortunately, in some sense. But no, this is my last year of the full-time job.
Right.
So I will be able to dedicate a lot more to this, to any sports jobs that come up, sports announcing. And I'm just going to keep on going. I'm not going to sit at home, Jim.
No, I know. You got too much energy.
I'm too much into the public and love what I do.
Yeah.
And again, just to everybody out there who's young and ready to go in a career, think about what you want to do with your life, like you said.
Yeah.
If there's one interest you have, pursue it. Pursue it, because you never know. Hard work and determination and stick-to-itiveness, I guess is the word. You're going to be amazed at what you can accomplish if you have that one goal and the success that you can develop if you just keep working at it. So don't stop.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially in the media business. There's
a
bump in the road every so often, but, you go over that bump and you just smooth sailing ahead. And like I talked about, and Fred, the same thing. In the entertainment business, radio is not as popular today as it was when Fred and I were young.
Right.
And the TV, we got a lot of competition. But the good thing with the TV is everything we do is on Facebook and YouTube, which pushes up the numbers of viewers that we have, who, even like with the football games, people will take their phone to the game and watch it because we're showing instant replay and stuff like that. And they can know what's going on. So
that's boy Ryan again.
Yeah, that's what helps. So people enjoy that very much, and we certainly hope you'll tune in to Millville High School football Friday nights, usually throughout the year.
Yep.
And we look forward to having you be one of our viewers. And Millville's team is phenomenal. In fact, it was interesting. Fred and I were talking the other day. Fred went to the University of Alabama, and Lotzir Brooks is going there.
Yeah.
One of the best players
Wish
in
him
the
a
nation.
great career. He picked a great school,
He sure
if you ask
did.
me.
Is that the number one college for sports? One of them.
Well, I mean, everything has its ups and downs.
Yeah.
I mean, Georgia's now a big-time team in the SEC. Clemson has been a good team in the SEC. But Alabama, traditionally, I mean, since the Bear Bryant days, it's a school that is often touted, and they get some of the greatest athletes to play football there. And they put on a show. I'm never disappointed, rarely disappointed when I watch Alabama football. They win a lot of games, but they also have great talent, and Mr. Brooks is going to fit right in.
Boy, he will.
He's going to fit right in because we saw that kind of talent on our field. He's going to bring it to Tuscaloosa.
What a great ball player. In fact, when you look at preseason predictions, of course, he's one of the top players in all this West Jersey Football League. But when you look at the preseason predictions for Group 4, it looks like Millville is picked right now to be number one. Now, you never know, but certainly Coach Ayala's done a great job. The kids, and where you got to give a lot of credit to is the Holly City Youth Football League.
Mm-hmm.
They, my goodness, they bring kids out of that program that are fantastic. Freshmen are great from that program. And that's a great feeder program that Millville's lucky to have. And speaking of the Holly City Midget Football League, I got a call recently from an amazing man, Carl Frank.
Oh, God, yes. Carl Frank.
I don't know how many, 20 years or whatever. He ran that Holly
Yes, he
City
did.
Midget Football League, and he's just such a great guy. I got a funny story to tell you. Carl has a son, Chris, and Chris, when I was the mayor, was a police officer. And another man in the police department at that time was a former Little Leaguer of mine, Dave McCaffrey. Dave, I'll think in a minute. But anyway, Dave took on the responsibility of cleaning up Delsey Garden, Delsey Village. It's 1997. And anyway, he wanted me to go down and meet the manager of Delsey Garden, Delsey Village. And I did. And it really looked nice. Picket fence, hanging baskets. I said, Mrs. Gould, this is really very, very nice. And McDonald is his last name now. She said to me, it's Officer McDonald that's turned it all around. And anyway, he was so good to the kids down there. So I'm with Chris Frank one day, and Chris had a whole big trash bag full of stuffed animals. So he's out giving the stuffed animals to the kids. And the kids' response to Chris Frank was, "You ain't McDonald. How come you're doing this?" And that says a lot for Dave, but it was also nice of Chris to do too, because they were like, okay, we found one guy, and Dave, Officer McDonald is nice, but we're going to have two guys that are nice to us and give us things. But they both did an outstanding job as police officers, and really thank them for their service for all those years. And the Frank family just doesn't get any better. Great people. And Carl, I'm so glad that you're still doing well. He's involved with Fourth Methodist Church, and just a really good man. Of course, you knew all these people.
Listen, the Millville community, when it comes to helping each other, not just in the athletic fields,
right?
They really care about their town. I don't care who you talk about. Everybody loves this town that lives here, and they make it the best they can. People like Fletcher Jameson, Rocky Musara, those are other people.
Yeah, super.
You know, these people, they care about their community so much. Carl Frank's a classic example. I'm glad you brought that name up. He's been a big fixture, got to be for 50 or 60 years now.
Absolutely.
In terms of what he means to Millville. Rob Shannon, of course. There's so many great people in this town, and I hope that you take a moment to thank them for all that they've done. Jim Parent's another one. This town, I moved here in 1990 because of people like that. So, and I haven't moved yet, although I may be going somewhere else soon.
I was thinking about trying to get you to stay in Millville because a friend of mine asked me the other day to come up with some people that would be good to run for mayor or city commission.
Oh, God, no.
That'd be good for you, Fred.
No. I don't want to ruin it. No offense to politicians. That's just not my shtick.
No, I'm sure not. And you're smart to not make it.
No, just give me a microphone.
It was funny. Somebody ripped me the other day on Facebook, and I chuckled, thought, say what you want. It wasn't true what they said, but I said, say what you want. I'm not running for office, so it doesn't matter.
Right.
And that's one of the things that's tough nowadays for the poor people that are in office.
Mm-hmm.
People can go and say things on Facebook that aren't necessarily true. But
it's a different world,
Yeah, it really is. So, but anyway, Fred, thank you for coming in, and thank you for all you do for Quinn Broadcasting.
Oh, I appreciate the ability and the chance to do it. I really do.
Thank you. So, anyway, my guest has been Fred Melendez, the sound doctor, the play-by-play for football, baseball, basketball, soccer. He's done it all here at Channel 22, QBC. And I want to thank George Kachia for producing the show this evening, and thank you for joining us. Have a good evening. Take care. Bye-bye.
All right.
This has been a QBC television production in association with our partners and sponsors. QBC broadcasts on Comcast Cable Channel 22 and live streams its programming on Facebook and YouTube. All rights reserved by Quinn Media and QBC, programming that serves the South Jersey market.